Hey Wally, I wanted to show you something. I wanted to show you that I figured out a really cool thing. I have figured out you can download from Microsoft a free screen capture so we can do videos, training videos. Microsoft Expression encoder for screen capture, and there's also an encoder here that transfers the video, the recorded video, into a medium that we can share or edit in Premiere Pro. Although I'm still having trouble figuring out a few things, like how to actually make the camera work. For some reason, I see it in the setup, but I haven't figured out how to set it up. But you were asking how to use Bridge. Whoops, wrong. Clicked on the wrong thing. Bridge. I wanted to show you Bridge and give you a quick and dirty overview on Bridge. So this is one I was practicing with, but let me find another one that I am new. So when you open Bridge, and I'm using raw files, but it'll work the same with JPEGs, is you go and you right click. Right click is the key. Open in Camera Raw. So now this is truly the Bridge. If I did nothing else and I hit open, it would open in Photoshop. However, I do the majority of my editing right here in Bridge almost all the time. I'm going to grab the crop tool. I'm going to go through some of this really fast, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. So I'll kind of like this too, because it kind of gives you the rule of thirds on the screen, so you can, you know, if you really wanted to crop tight, we could do that. I don't like cutting off their feet, even if you can't see them. For some reason it feels odd to me. But okay, so I'm gonna like that crop, and I hit enter, and that brings up the crop. So now I can make a whole variety of adjustments. So keep in mind, all of these tools across the top are different tools, and when we select these different tools, this menu over here changes. Okay, right now I'm on this basic tab here, but there are a whole lot of tabs over here as well. This basic affects a lot of this. So we've got a white balance tool. I can actually grab this and I can click on an area that's like 18% gray and change the color temperature. I don't know if you saw that. It changed it to a little bit blue. I don't have, normally it'd have a gray chip in the shot, but with wildlife you can't really do that. I'm going to undo that because I like it a little warmer the way it was. So you saw the crop tool. I'm going to skip over these other two for a moment. This is a leveling tool, so if for some reason you had a picture of the ocean and the horizon was wonky, you could take this leveling tool and set it across the horizon, and it will, you didn't really see a whole lot of difference there. Let me do that again. Let's make it wonky so you can really see it change. It'll change the horizon. And so you can then make sure, well, I really like this. I'm going to go all the way over here because I want to make sure that I really get this level, and at least to the ground in which we're looking at. And when we're done, everything looks reasonably level. So this is a spot removal tool. You can come in here, and I'll remove his tail just to show you what I'm talking about. It finds another area. This is the red is the selected area. The green is the area in which it's sampling from. You know, you could remove his eye if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to undo that because we want his tail. This is a red eye reduction tool. If you had a flash photography and there was red in the shot, then you could do that. This is a an adjustment brush. So let's take this adjustment brush, and if we do the the right bracket, it makes it larger. The left bracket makes it smaller. So, or you can just go up here and hit size. There's a size button. I never use it though. Here it is. Size is down here. You can change it here. I personally like the left and right brackets because I can see it. The inner circle is the actual adjustment. The outer circle is the feathering. So if I change the size of the feathering to something very small, you'll see that the feathering has gotten really small. I like it about halfway because maybe a third of the way. So what I'm going to do, if you can set these, you can preset these. Now remember, this is no longer the overall image, this is only the selection brush. And sometimes I find myself getting in trouble because I forget that that's what I've done, that I've selected something as opposed to this tool, which would affect the overall image. So if and we've got some other adjustments down here. So the cool part is, if you want to just brighten something, you can hit this little plus and it's going to zero out all of these except for that. If I wanted to just let's say just brighten the shadow area, if I hit the plus, it's going to give me a little bump, and then when I adjust just the shadows, which you can't really see a difference here, but it's making a slight difference. It's just adjusting the shadows in that case. I'm going to undo that because I don't really like it. What I am going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit one click down. And by the way, you can change all these individually, but I'm just going to hit this one click down to give it a slight 0.5% darkening overall adjustment with just where I touch this brightening tool, and watch what happens. It makes the grass nice and pretty. And I'm just going to go over his legs for the sake of demonstration, but I would often go in there and just do, see, now I got to be careful because I didn't got into his face a little bit. So I can see the mask there, and then I can come over here and I can erase that. Alright, so I think I am at a point where I want to turn the mask off. And the other cool part about this particular brush adjustment tool is I can do things like, let's just bump up clarity. Now notice when I did that, clarity went up and it zeroed out everything else because I didn't. See, I can sit there and mess all these up, but if I hit just the one little button over here, it zeroes everything out except for what I asked it for, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna take this down, and I would just want to clarify the face. I usually do this because I want more attention to the face. Right? Okay, so then there's another tool I want to show you real quick. A couple tools. Gradient. We can do gradients. Like we can come up here and we can bump this down. Let's get it really dark so you can see it. See, too dark, but we can make it a little more focused on our critter. And this was taken on a rainy day, so it looks like it's really noisy, but it's really not. It's actually rain falling back here. By the way, I've got the zoom tool going. That is the zoom tool. But if I roll the mouse up and down in the center roller, it goes up and down. I can also push on the space bar. It makes a hand, and then I can move him around like so. And then I can let go of the space bar, and I'm back to the zoom tool, which I don't know if you can see that or not. I think you can, but it's got a plus. If I hit the Alt key, it becomes a minus, and as I click backwards, it comes back. There's also, this is another trick, the drop down here, I can hit fit in window, and it was already fit in window. If we go zoom in, and we hit fit in window, which is what I use a lot, you can pull that back in. So assuming that, let's pretend that I'm happy with that, I can do one of two things. I can hit save image, and I can save it to the same location or a new location. I can choose the folder it's going to go to if it's a new location. I can choose the name. I can actually type in there, or I can just leave it as the document name. I use small, medium, and large a lot depending on the size of the quality of the file. Basically, what I'm choosing over here, I'm going to usually put up here in my JPEGs just so I know, or sometimes I'll put for web if I'm going to the web. For web or on-screen stuff, Sometimes I'll use sRGB, but most of the time I prefer Adobe 1998. I'm going to cancel out of this because I'm not going to save this. But what I can do now, if I decide that I really want to do some more work in Photoshop, instead of hitting done, which is going to save all my changes and close this window and take me back to that window, instead of doing done, instead of saying done, I'm going to hit open image. And what that's going to do is it has saved those adjustments, but it's also going to launch Photoshop, and it's going to open it up as a background image in Photoshop. And at that time, then I can, you know, further adjust as I need to, and it's going to take a second for it to load because it's probably a pretty big image. There we go. And it automatically came up on the crop tool. I don't know if that's a holdover from the last time I was there or not, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. You know, you would go through the normal adjustments. You know Photoshop, so I'm not going to do anything with that. But it is saved right here. That little cursor says I've made a crop to it, and this little icon says I've made other adjustments. Those are the only two that I've ever seen. In Bridge, also, I usually flag things. If it's something that I like and I want to keep, if it's at least something I want to keep, I usually give it one flag. I have not, obviously, gone through this folder much and made adjustments or deleted stuff out that I don't want. But I have flagged a few things. And the cool part about this is, once you flag a few things, this is my process of elimination when I'm doing competitions and stuff, is I'll star things, and you can come up here and you can filter out by stars. So I can now filter down to all of just the threes, the stars that have threes or better. If I decide that that one's a 4, then I can make that a 4, and maybe, you know, I can sit there and dial it down. Some of these were absolutely pouring down rain shots. I kind of like this one because the animal is in the absolute pouring down rain. The only thing I didn't like about it was there's too much butt in the shot. But if we were to do something like that, and I were to crank up the clarity a little bit just to make it pop a little bit more, and maybe give it a slight post-crop vignetting, which is in the FX button over here, and maybe crop it down a little bit. And you know what? It needs clarity is cranked up a little too high. Needs some vibrance. Give it some color. If I had the time in this video, I'd sit there and darken the grass like I did in the other one, but you kind of get the idea. So instead of opening it in Photoshop this time, I'm just going to say done. And there it is in its adjustment. The other thing about Bridge, real quick, is I can pull up this information, and we can minimize all of these things. A lot of this is bogus stuff. I wonder if you can... Mostly what I'm going for, I want to know, and this is how I learn photography, is I want to know what f-stop I shot it at what speed I shot it at. Here's some of the metadata, some of the camera information, and again, that's more f-stop stuff, what camera I shot, what lens I shot. Sometimes if I put an extension filter on there or something, that's kind of cool to know. There's even copyright information that I've embedded into it, so every time I photograph something, I don't know where that's hiding, but it's in there somewhere. It's got my name on it so that I own the copyright on it. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. I don't think there's anything else in here that you can really see. It's worth a diddly squat. But yeah, there's my copyright. And old. I'm gonna need to update that on my camera. Anyhow, that is Bridge. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.